Welcome, ladies and gents, to another episode of JJW Sports Chat. I'm your host, Will the Thrill, and along with me is my tag team partner, one of a kind.
Just Josh. That's right. Here we are with another week of great show. We got the Super Bowl this weekend. We also got the Olympics starting this weekend. We will touch on both of them a little bit today. And get in
Definitely.
some other stuff. With no football last week, and we're not even going to talk about the Pro Bowl unless we want to get into a discussion about that later, like we just slightly had. We can get into that if you want. But no football, so not much to go over there. I'm still not taking a pick. I just want to watch it and have fun and enjoy it with no horse in the race.
Yep. I for one, because a lot of people ask me who am I betting. I'm not a betting man unless it's like I'm guaranteed to win, and that's not fun. And losing money you don't have. So, ladies and gents, I'm not putting a pick on. I just think both teams worked their butts off this year, especially even though it is New England. But they played their ass off this season, and I cannot deny that. They definitely were entertaining to watch. And the Seahawks is the same way. I just was listening to some people talk about Sam Darnold, how actually it was Troy Aikman who was talking to Rich Eisen, is where I got most of this information from. And hearing what Troy was really talking about with Sam Darnold, saying that it's like if you really look at how his career goes, you really never got a chance to really see how well he could play because he was in situations where he was set to fail. It wasn't until he ended up going to San Francisco where he saw how an environment with well structured can work. And from there is where you got to really see the strength of the games in the upcoming seasons after that. So I am looking forward to just looking for a good game, hopefully a high scoring game. If not, maybe a good defensive game where guys actually do hit each other. So that's my input on that. And also, I'm looking forward to the commercials. You cannot beat the Super Bowl commercials. Hell, they did a special on that.
Yes, they definitely have. Once again, like I said, no pick. Just want to watch it as a fan. Like you said, both teams worked their butts off, deserve to be there. Both coaches did an awesome job with their situations. So it should be, like you said, a fun game to watch. I don't care if it's an offensive game or defensive game. I just want it to be fun and a good game to watch. And yes, where people hit because like the Pro Bowl, we know is garbage anymore, and they just play flag football. For whatever reason, over the years it's changed. We were discussing this a little bit before we came on, and I gave my reasoning was that back in the 90s, when it was still decent to watch the Pro Bowl, they gave incentives to be there, and it meant something. And it took place after the Super Bowl instead of before the week before. And I think that hurt it a lot too. But that's just my opinions on it. And I know Will was like he was saying he agreed, and it made sense. But it is what it is now with it. Kind of puts the NFL with the only sport really without a real kind of all-star game.
Yeah, because I was going to say, hockey got a really good one. In fact, their whole weekend is entertaining on how they do it.
Yes, because they have they have a night of skills, and then they have the young guns, and then they have the I guess your veterans, older guys doing the all-star games, and they changed it up from what it used to be. I don't really watch the actual. I like the skills. I watch all the skill stuff. I don't really watch the games no more because you got to watch like 4 mini all-star games or 3. So it's the 2 Easterns go against each other and the 2 Westerns go against each other, and then the winners play against each other, and then the winning team gets money and prizes and stuff. Which is cool, but it's incentive. There's a car for MVP. There's different stuff that make them want to play.
Yeah, and they make it worthwhile for the athletes to participate in this, and they actually all look like they do have fun. It doesn't even look scripted when they talk, like when you watch the NBA. That to me, it's bad enough you have to come with ideas every year to make it worthwhile, as entertainment. I think the one year, quote me if I'm wrong if it happened last year, but the one when they had Sabrina, um and I think she took on Steph Curry. I think that was one of the most highlighted of the evenings. Then the 3-point contest still gets a good buzz. Slam dunk.
Last couple years hasn't been
No.
that entertaining. You haven't had that flashy young guy to like bring some jazz back to it. The slam dunk contest always does that. It goes for a lull a little bit where it'll be like awesome because you have all these young, exciting guys, and then they start getting older and it levels out for a couple years, and then you find another wave comes. But I know the last few years the slam dunk contest has not been that great.
No.
Not that I really watch the NBA All-Star game that much anymore, but I do keep an eye on it to see what's going on. Baseball with their All-Star game is whoever wins gets the home field advantage of the NL or AL, isn't it? Do they still do that? Okay. I know they did it a while ago.
Yeah, I want to say they did because that's how, who was it this year? The Dodgers and the who did the Dodgers play? Because they ended up winning it. And I think I want to say they were the home team first, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Christ. Anyway, I think that format still goes.
Okay, I know they were doing it for a while, and I thought that was pretty cool because that gives you incentive to actually try to win.
Yep.
Because it helps your division get home field for the World Series, and you want to be there in the World Series, so why not want to help your team win? So hopefully, I don't think the NFL is going to change anytime soon with their Pro Bowl All-Star kind of game format. Unfortunately, it hurts it for the fans.
Oh, it definitely does.
Like I said, I like watching the skill stuff in hockey, even in basketball. Not really a baseball person, but the home run derby was always fun. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Look, we're just hanging out talking. It came up. Let's go with it. Let's talk. But yeah, I bring the good Pro Bowl back. Make it after the Super Bowl, so everybody can have a chance to be there. I think that hurt it too, is because you think, especially with the Patriots, Tom Brady was never there because he was always in the Super Bowl. So as a fan, you're a little upset you don't get to see your favorite All-Star playing the All-Star game because they don't play because they don't want to get injured before the Super Bowl. Put it back after the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl players can play too. And put it back in Hawaii or whatever.
Yeah, where it was like a vacation spot and
make it fun again. Make it purpose. I don't know, help it. I don't know. Figure out some way to make it worth it to the players that actually want to play and win. So with that wraps up, I guess, talking about football for now.
Well, I mean, I think we were all over because we were talking about all sports at the same time.
But it started with the Super Bowl into the Pro Bowl.
So there you go. This Sunday, February 8th. Kickoff is normally about 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Give or take.
But there's the pre-setup and everything, yada, yada, yada. Bada bing, bada boom, forget about it.
I believe the pre-shows start at like 12 noon. And there's
Yeah,
stuff on all day throughout it, different channels and everything. So enjoy the day. There'll be music and stuff beforehand, during hand. Just enjoy the game. If you have a team in the race, kudos for you. Um, congrats to whoever pulls out the win. Let's go.
that's all that matters. Forget about it.
Now, would you like to go to? Let's see. I don't really have anything for baseball. Unfortunately, I was.
Baseball. Phillies equipment has started heading down to Clearwater Springs for what do you call that, preseason thingy majig, as they say.
Spring training, sir.
There you go, spring training. I'm so far out of the loop for a guy who used to play baseball.
And I'm a guy that can't stand baseball, and I still know what the hell it's called.
Oh, sue me on that. Well, don't, because it's not like you're gonna get a lot.
I know there was some more trade, but Carlo. Now, I know people are probably gonna get mad, but I thought it was funny when I saw this at first. Carlos Santana signs with the Diamondbacks for his 17th MLB season.
I hope you weren't thinking of the musician.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I know who he is. I know
Okay.
who Carlos is. And I'm talking about both Carloses. I know who they both are.
Okay. I was
But-
just to check in.
But I was waiting for somebody to assume what you just did, that's what I would think. No, I do know people, man. I just don't follow it. I still know it. But 17 MLB season. Holy crap.
Yeah, see, baseball, some of the players can do that. Like one player I used to like is what is it? Is it Fernando Francisco?
Well, yeah, unless you're a catcher,
true diehard fan of the game, like you love the sport yourself. You could play that game as long as your legs will let you go and your arms can still swing the bat.
well,
Jim Thome is a good example of that.
For the most part, baseball, the two shortest positions in baseball, career wise, are catcher and pitcher.
Yeah.
Because of your knees and your shoulder. So if you're an outfielder and you can stay healthy and good, you can usually have a pretty long career. It's usually pitchers and catchers that have shorter careers because of the wear and tear so much on their knees and your shoulder. And I know that firsthand from playing both positions when I did play baseball, of how much wear and tear that is. So yeah, for the pitchers, especially pitchers that stay in and do it for like Randy Johnson and Nolan Ryan and stuff like that did it for so many years and stayed great for all them years. That's ow. It does look like some games looks like most of the baseball games will be starting on the February 20th. By looking at the schedule I have right here, at least where they start, like there aren't just scrimmages. They're like more like the actual preseason instead of just like scrimmages, warm ups. But you definitely wanted to say something about Carlos's 17th MLB season. When I did see that, I was like, holy crap. I don't see anything else right now about baseball. You have anything else for baseball, sir?
For baseball?
Yeah, sir, baseball.
Um Phew.
If not, we can go right ahead into basketball, sir.
Dodgers claimed outfielder Mike Sirianni off of waivers from the New York Yankees. And this designated, making sure I'm saying his name right, Andy Ibanez, for
Yes,
assessment
Ibanez.
on today. Yeah. Yeah. The 26-year-old played 19 games for the St. Louis Cardinals last season, hitting 2.35 with 4 runs. He played for the Cincinnati Reds in 2022 and 2023. That is about the Mike Ciani for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are the defending champs. All-Star Isaac Paredes. I'm definitely butchering that name. Agrees with the Astros to $9.35 million for one single year. Yeah. Agreement came midpoint of the usually requested 8.75 million, but the team offered the sides an exchange proposal since they've been fighting since January 8th to get this deal done. So the All-Star is actually with the Astros, the infielder, to avoid salary arbitration. And that's pretty much why they were doing it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for baseball. We can wrap up baseball.
All righty, that wraps up baseball. Go ahead into basketball because we'll end with NHL since we want to talk about the Olympics and stuff. So we'll swing that in.
Okay. Off-topic news for NBA news. I'm going to hit college for this moment. Bryce James, the youngest son of LeBron James, redshirted his freshman year, or he's going to redshirt his freshman year at the University of Arizona. The coach Tommy Lloyd confirmed that Tuesday. And the crazy thing is, Bryce James got actually more hype than LeBron James Jr. That's the crazy thing about that. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's also little brother's taller than Bronny. So that's good for him. So therefore, like, he'll get some of these like reps slowly, and then he got an extra year under his belt for being redshirted. All right, ladies and gentlemen. The Detroit Pistons still lead the East with 36-12, 75% winning percentage this season. Still the top dogs in the East, followed by the New York Knicks, who are battling for that second spot, trying to avoid the third spot with the Boston Celtics. Both teams are 31-18 in the standings. Toronto is a full game behind them, technically. And the fourth spot, Cleveland is in the same boat as them. And the Philadelphia 76ers, who are on a 4-game winning streak by defeating the Clippers last night in huge fashion, led by Tyrese Maxey and Barlow, who had a career high 26 points in that effort. A lot of moves being done since the trading deadline is coming up this Thursday at 3:00. There were 2 huge trades that we will get into to shake the league up a little bit that happened today. In the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder still the top dogs in the West, like they have been all season, 39-11. That's a 78% winning percentage, folks. The Spurs are right behind them, 5.5 games behind. The Denver Nuggets are in third. The Kevin Durant Houston Rockets are in fourth. Same with the Minnesota Timberwolves are in the 5th seed. Just some losses picked up on that one. And the Lakers are in 6th spot. And I can also stop my trash talking because they released the news about the reserves for the West. And for a record-breaking, LeBron James has made it to the All-Star game as a reserve. It's just that his streak has ended as a all-star starter.
But yeah,
So that is where it is at.
I saw that today
Um,
too, and I was like, oh man.
so yes, Crystal, I did mention it. LeBron James is on the All-Star team as a reserve. I don't care if 40 something years old or not. Yes, he's still doing great things. Yes, he could drop 40 on on a night if he chose to. Because the man's not a human being. He is an alien. I'm telling you. He got alien in his DNA. No 40-year. You know what? I was watching something where they injected somebody with something and it ended up being like teen blood. I think LeBron was injected with some teen blood to give him, you know, to move like a teenager in some ways. Sometimes the 40 kicks in where the sciatica comes in play, but I think he got some teen blood in him.
Oh god.
All right. And as mentioned, sorry, still getting over this stuff. The Sixers do play tonight at 10 o'clock. That'll be on the Comcast Sports channel for those who don't have that. For those that have that, they are taking on the Golden State Warriors as they continue their West Coast swing. Right now, Detroit and Denver are playing. Detroit's leading right now, 13-7 in the first. Utah, speaking of Utah, they have done a monster trade today, taking on the Indiana Pacers, and they're hanging in there 15-10. The New York Knicks are playing at Washington, and they're winning 15-7. And the Los Angeles Lakers are heading to Brooklyn. Um, at 7:30 tonight. And you got the Hawks and Heat. And on Peacock tonight at 8 o'clock, you got the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown, all-star starter. Jaylen Brown. Wait, was he a starter? I know he's going to the All-Star game. He could be the first off the reserve. Anyway, Jaylen Brown leading the Boston Celtics, taking on the Cooper Flags, number one pick. Dallas Mavericks at 8 o'clock on Peacock or NBC. And if you still up, no, I shouldn't say still up. Yeah, if you're still up, you can catch the Phoenix Suns taking on the Portland Trail Blazers at 11 o'clock on NBC or Peacock. Chicago also is playing Milwaukee, and Orlando is playing OKC tonight at 8. But those two games I mentioned that are on NBC/Peacock, you can catch those games. Okay, speaking of, there were some trades. I'm looking for my transactions.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as mentioned, wait, this is poorly not updated. This is poor.
You on ESPN again?
Yeah, it's not updated.
Their site sucks.
Yeah, they do, because you would think they drop all the news, but yet they're not on top of it.
All right, hold on. Here we go.
No, I got it.
Utah Jazz acquire Jaren
Triple J, Jaren Jackson. Yeah.
From the Grizzlies in a blockbuster deal involving several players. The Pistons, the Bulls, and the Timberwolves completed a deal to set Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley to Chicago, while Boston acquired Nikolai Volchevichkov or something like that for Alfredo Simon. And then the Clippers and the Cleveland Cavaliers have held discussions over Harden and Darius Garland. James Harden and Darius Garland.
That's still
not finalized. That's just rumors there. That's just discussions. Nothing finalized. Hold on. Let's see if we have more. Here we go. Minnesota Timberwolves.
They traded Mike Conley.
Yeah.
because it was a three-way trade. He's heading to Chicago.
Yeah, they were the two I said, and
Yeah,
Nikolai.
Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley are going to the Chicago Bulls. Kevin Herter, Dario Saric are to the Pistons, and the Timberwolves received a swap. The Pistons also received a 2026 first round protected swap from Minnesota in the deal. Reason being is because Detroit's trying to free up money, so they're below, so they're in the next stage of the apron because they're looking to go after Giannis Antetokounmpo. There, so if they don't end up getting Giannis, the nice thing is they did save up a lot of cap money that they could fish for another big superstar, and they'll have that good old gap to save them some money. That's pretty much why Minnesota did that. It was pretty much like a contract dump of Mike Conley, and why the Bulls also received Jaden Ivey, because Ivy, those players, Kevin Herter and Dario Saric, are going to the Pistons.
Yeah.
So they just sweetened the deal for them. The Triple J trade that I was mentioning, which is Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., who is a defensive player of the year at one point, still is an elite player as well, is heading to Utah Jazz. He is being accompanied with because it was an 8-player deal.
Yeah. That's the one I was looking for.
Memphis will receive 3 first-round picks as well, along with the guard rookie Walton Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, George Bang Bang Niang, former 76er. And the Jazz will also acquire center Jack Landale and John Concher and Vince Williams Jr. in the deal, which was completed 2 days before Thursday's trading deadline, which is, of course, today.
Yes.
So Jaren Jackson is also accompanied with some other players as well from that deal, but Memphis is in a rebuilding phase. So the next big player they're looking to dump and get rid of is Ja Morant. So it kind of gives Utah a face to actually a guy who's young but has been in a big stage before. So that's where that's all coming from, and that is actually from ESPN. Even though I went to Google, that's what they popped up with. So now, the Giannis sweepstake continues. James Harden, as mentioned, for some reason wants to get out of the Clippers. He has done this before, which is crazy because they pretty much did everything they wanted to, and I think they don't even have time and patience, or something's going on behind the scenes at that place because they were doing good. Now they're struggling again. Who knows what's happening in that ball club? So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a basketball fan or love the NBA, just do what you can. Continue watching and support. The more ratings people watch, the better things can hopefully get better.
Yeah.
I'm an old school basketball fan, truthfully. So this new NBA, I'm still
Well, I don't watch it.
I don't
watch it. I don't watch it.
I love my Sixers. That's the main thing I watch. And I'm happy because Embiid's playing.
I can actually tell you the last year I fully paid attention to basketball.
Oh, that's scary, Josh.
2001.
Holy smokes.
It was the last year I paid attention to basketball.
That's because the 76ers went that far.
No. Well, yes and no. It was also the year I graduated high school.
Okay.
And Upper Darby's colors are purple and gold. And they were playing the Lakers, so everybody was making a big thing trying to say all the Sixers fans were phony. Like, we made a whole joke out of it, saying, "Oh, look, we're all Laker fans," because it was actually at the same time that the finals was going on. But that's, you got to think that Dennis Rodman, my favorite player, stopped playing. Jordan wasn't really playing anymore. Pippen was trying to play in Portland, I think, still. It just wasn't going well for anybody at that point, and I could see the league wasn't the same. I lost interest in that, and I was done school, work. Basketball became the low man on my totem pole because I was still playing hockey and semi-pro football, so I stuck with that. So yeah, that was definitely last year I really paid attention to basketball. Like the whole season and everything.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's now 26. So yeah, we're not even going to do the math. But so staying with basketball, and of course, I always mention it, and people are probably tired of it. WNBA still at a stalemate. They did have their first discussion since like the beginning of January yesterday. It got nowhere. They're still on now. I won't say got nowhere, but this is stuff they were on the same page with before they hit a stalemate again. They were kind of agreeing on maternity leave, help with childcare, kind of stuff like that, and a new salary cap kind of thing. But how it would work is still not right. They still got to work out that, but at least the league's offering money. But with that, and me and Crystal were talking about this today at work. She did show me the thing, but I did see it also too. Unrivaled, which is the 3-on-3 basketball off-season league kind of thing. That's has nothing to do with the WNBA other than players playing.
Okay.
Of course, they're in the middle of their season thing or getting ready to end, whatever, because they only do it for it's only 2-3 weeks. It's not long at all. They just traveled. They don't just stay in one spot. They kind of travel. They were literally just in Philly, I believe.
Yeah.
Friday, something like that.
Yep, because Wanda Sykes was at the game.
But so this is where the WNBA players are 100% on not backing down. Unrivaled. Just on their Philly stop. Just in Philly. Over $2 million. $1 million in tickets and then over another $1 million in merchandise. They sold out of merchandise so quick it wasn't even funny. Therefore, WNBA, open your eyes. And look, no Caitlin Clark, none of that drama that everyone was saying was bringing eyes onto the WNBA, and that was the only reason they had the eyes they had this year. They just proved that wrong. Caitlin's not playing in that. Neither is Angel Reese, so there's none of that drama. Pay these women what they deserve for putting their body on the line and being athletes just like men. Give them their money. They just proved it that they are money drawers. That right there proves it. So whoever's being greedy in the higher up in the WNBA offices, step aside and do what's right. Let these women get the money that they deserve. They proved they can do it. They proved they're a draw. And like I said, it's not just Caitlin Clark.
Okay. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate here. All right. Josh, how many games did they end up playing at the Philadelphia spot?
1 game, I believe.
How many? How much advertising went into this knowing that they were going to be at Philly?
Not much.
Because the reason I'm saying that is because the only reason I've heard about that is because someone scored 43 points, which was the most points scored in Xfinity's in the building since Joel Embiid, who had 73. If I did not see that clipping in the newspaper or online, I would have never known that game was even taking place. So therefore, someone wasn't branching out marketing it completely to all spots or anything, unless you know somebody or heard somebody that said something like that.
But that right there tells you, without all that marketing, they still made over $2 million just on that one stop, one game.
Right. But as you were saying, like these girls need to be paid. Now, when it comes to the WNBA, now I'm not saying that they're going to, there's certain players that are in different brackets that I believe that should be getting paid that type of money. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say every single one of them because you're not going to pay someone who plays 3 minutes $1 million because, they're owed that. No. And I think if you're a mega star on a roster, on a team, you get paid like a mega star. It's okay if they take a pay cut on anything like that.
Well, of course,
because
yes.
of other businesses and checks. And I also do want to point out too, college sports, athletes there getting paid. You really are pushing the market for the bigger brands to say, is it even worth us having to outpay a lot of these players in order for us to make you feel like your value?
Okay, so I got. So you talk about the college. Guess what? You can go in college, women's college basketball, make more money than you make in the WNBA.
Well, but all right. Now here's where we're getting. Now here's where the situation's going. I wasn't just saying for women.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
I was saying that as a whole. But
No,
now that you're saying women correctly, you're absolutely right. Half of those women don't even need to ever work again. In a way, the basketball is pretty much like a recess for them because all they got to do is take their selfies, pose. Now, I'm not saying that the 2-letter word. I mean like modeling, marketing, or whatever else they're doing on the side. Basketball is second to them unless they're a big fan because they can make more money than ever than having to play. The thing is, Josh, now here's the upsetting thing that I'm going to point out and say. Athletes feel, to me, as a viewer, and how I see, is that they treat the professional level like that league owes them. Like, in order for us to get you to play, we owe you to come to us. Not saying like...
You're employing them. Of course you owe them. You're employing them. They're your employee.
But that's the thing. It's a privilege to be playing in the NBA. Remember how many people said it was a dream?
I never took that away. I never would say it's not a privilege to play in any of the leagues.
But that's what I'm saying. If it's a job, you're great at a job. Josh, I'm hiring you because you are one hell of a guy I know that knows his shit when it comes to computers. So I'm going to hire you and give you what you owe based off what your knowledge is.
Okay, and I'd be fine with that because that's what it should be.
Right, that's what it should be.
And that's
now when you get when you get to the employer, okay, and you see that it's not what you expect it to be, or you're not putting all your effort into it, that you're just playing doopy do and not doing that.
No, I get, but
go ahead.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about people getting hired and not doing their job. We're talking about, because we're talking about the women, because that's what it was, the WNBA. Why at a pro level am I making less than somebody in a 9-to-5 job? For my yearly salary is less than what there's WNBA players making less than what we make at our job. How is that fair as an athlete? Putting your body on the line. No. I'm not talking. This has nothing to do with the Excel side. I'm saying for being an athlete, for playing basketball. Not the model and not the extra one. Playing basketball has nothing to do with what you do on the side for your endorsements and stuff. I'm talking about as an athlete, as employed by the league. Why is your top, and this is some of your top players, are making less than normal people, than non-athletic people that are in normal 9 to 5 jobs.
Well, like I was saying, from your top athletes, your mega stars, those are the people that should be getting their money,
But they're not.
but
That's
they're
the
not.
problem with the
So,
WNBA.
but you can only pay so many top athletes what they're owed. Not trying to say that the whole league needs to get what the top athletes are making.
And that's not even what the players are saying.
Well, that's what they need to make sure they're addressing. Because when you're saying as a whole, you're talking about from the players who are from the bottom of the bench, that you're telling them that they're owed all this. They're thinking they're going to get that increase.
No, they're not saying that they're owed this. They're saying they want their even cut. They want a deal like the NBA does, like NBA players have, where if your team, like say Philly, does good and starts getting more revenue, brings more revenue into your company, they get a kickback.
Okay.
That's fair.
That is fair.
That's one of the things they want. And they want a more even salary, because your thing is, how you say the All-Stars, they will have an All-Star that's not even making over $100,000. And then your 3-minute player, will just say, because we're not, like, your non-starter is only making $20,000 a year. Nobody can live off that. We can't live off of that. But you want an athlete that has to try to protect themselves, because as an athlete, you're in the eye of the public, and you got the wackos and the crazies, especially being a female. And you want them to live in like an apartment building with Joe Smo, John Dahmer, with no protection. So it's not just about them saying they're owed this. It's also being safe and protected and treated as other athletes.
Okay, so let's do this then. Let's say this. All right. You were talking about revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
The NBA, the WNBA has been around. Say they just hit over their 25th year. So let's say, 26, 27?
Give or take, yeah.
Give or take. All right. Within that time frame, they have just started hitting a revenue. They have really just started hitting that revenue.
Okay.
And they all started with the private planes and all this other expenses and stuff. So the business itself needs to pay their athletes. I am saying that, and I agree with you 100%. They need to pay these ladies, and not only just pay them, I think they also need to give them their revenue, which I think is more the top thing of what the players were really talking about, was getting their revenue from based off, the sales of their names and the jerseys and stuff. That's 100%. I will 100% agree on. But in order for them to do this, and this is why I think doing a lockout to get your statement across, you have officially destroyed the WNBA for that.
But that's the thing. They have not agreed to a lockout yet. They have told their people not to. It's the management side that's trying to cause the lockout now, not the players.
Because
the thing is, switched.
If the lockout happens, that means a lot of not just the owners of those teams and management of those teams, the NBA itself could say, you know what, with a year of this gone, we actually get to see how much of our own money that we have been losing, and he could pull out. And that would be the death of WNBA, because management wanted to be stubborn with their own players.
Mm-hmm. And that's all.
And that would be a shame. It would be a shame.
The big thing is the players just want to be treated more fairly. Across the board with everything, with the revenue, salaries, everything. Not saying they want expensive salaries. They just want to make sense for what they do. They're not saying they want $1 million contracts.
I'm just saying that you're right. They didn't do a lockout. But even the word popping up, and you see baseball took the biggest hit of all. It's America's sport, and they're still recovering from that. Yes,
Oh, I
there are
know.
diehard fans still around the world, but baseball is never up to its plateau as once has been.
The good thing is we still have about 3 months to the season starts because it doesn't start till May 8th.
Well, time's a
Um,
ticking, and normally you got spring training.
but
I mean, that spring training's right before
preseason.
the league start because they're a summer league, so they only got a couple months. Right, you're right, and them doing rival and all this other stuff. It's good
Well,
to keep them in shape and keep them in the states, but
and see that's a
no,
lot. That's a lot of thing with the players don't want to have to go overseas to make a decent living playing the sport they love. And as just a sports fan, I'd rather our players stay here and entertain us here in our country
yeah,
than have to go somewhere else and play. And that's in any sport. Basketball, football, hockey, anything. I'd rather see them come. I'd rather see them stay home with their families and where we can see them easier and so we can enjoy them. But I know as the players, because it even goes to some male players, you do what you got to do, what's best for you. Go get you. You got to get what's what you want and what you think you deserve. How many NBA players have done that in the past, and that's actually kept their career alive or gave them a career later in the NBA? They've gone overseas for a few years and blew up.
yeah.
So I don't want to see a lockout. I want them to figure it out. I just want them, and it's not just WNBA; it's any women's sports. Because even with the hockey recently, they just got their league, and I was behind them getting paid the right amount too. So I just feel as an athlete, being an athlete myself, every athlete should be treated along the same line if that's what your career is and your dream and everything like that. You should be, you're giving up your body, putting your body on the line and stuff like that. You should be paid for it. And equally enough that you can live and take care of yourself, especially if something happens to you. That's the other way to look at it, at some of it too, with the money wise, is it's not just about them being greedy. It's also about, okay, you don't give us no kind of health insurance. That comes out of, we pay for everything out of our own
Right.
pocket.
But see, that's where I think it's wrong at. Like they should have been paying for,
exactly.
like that's where you got team doctors and stuff like that, and
that's why these negotiations seem like it's all about money, but it's not. It's about that medical stuff. It's about maternity leaves. It's about helping the players stay healthy and be safe and stuff just like other leagues have. Because right now the teams don't even cover their doctor bills. They cover their own stuff for most of them. Most players, unless you're like the high top guy. That sucks. So the people really not getting paid are really getting screwed.
yeah. It's
So
a shame. It's a damn shame.
Hopefully they figure it out and don't go to a lockout. But time will tell. I keep an eye on it, and I will keep an eye on it.
And I will keep an eye on it.
Hey, look, like I said, I'm an athlete. I believe all athletes should be treated evenly and everything else like that. So, let's move on to hockey. So we can, yeah. I'm just going to do a quick rundown of the standings. I'm not going to go into all the games because the Olympics do start this weekend. So after, I believe, Thursday, there will be no NHL till the end of the month. For about 2-3 weeks, no hockey. NHL hockey. There will be Olympic hockey. I will go over. Yeah, you did miss a little bit of LeBron stuff that came up, Crystal. So, but I will try to keep us updated with the Olympics, stuff like that. So we have the Lightning in first in the East, followed right by Detroit. And yes, Detroit last night shut out the Colorado Avalanche. They give them a 2-0 regulation loss. So we beat the top team in the NHL, baby. We're still doing good. Then you have the Hurricanes, the Penguins, and the Sabres and the Canadiens finishing out the top of the East. The West, we got, of course, Colorado still at the top because they're at the top of the league. Followed by the Wild, the Stars, the Golden Knights, the Oilers, and the Kraken are your top 6 for NHL. Like I said, Olympics starting this weekend. Definitely we'll be talking about the Olympics. Now, I do wanted to ask you this.
Ask who this?
I know you and
okay.
And everyone else.
Okay. Just watch out now.
No. It's a question. It's a sports question. It has to do with the Olympics.
Okay. You sure? You don't sound sure, Josh.
Listen, because I know back a few years ago, NBA did it too, where they stopped sending the NBA players over for a while. NHL did it, and now are sending them back again. What are your feelings on pro players going over to the Olympics? Like, I know basketball, it's a little bit different because it's not the middle of the season like it is for hockey. Because it's usually after the finals and everything.
Yeah, it's actually August. Yeah, you're right. It's after the finals and stuff like that.
So for basketball, it's a little bit easier.
All right, me personally, like I liked it way back in the day when it was like for the college athletes, because back in the day, that's who went was your
and that's why NHL is done on and off too. Yeah,
and I like that aspect because you get players who are still hungry, and it just makes it more enjoyable because of that. To me, professional athletes. How do I put it? Because like you're already a professional. Yes, like track and field, like unless you're a diehard track and field person, you're not going to know who they are unless it's times when they come to the Olympics. That's because they have to do special workouts to qualify for these things. To me, for the NBA, yes, the NBA has a selected group of coaches that get together with the players who are pretty much either finish the season or finish their workouts. Then they come together and finally outplay, and then you have to choose out of the top 75 players, but you got a group that made it already, so they get to be picked automatically, and then you got another tryout for another set of 5 or 6 people. I just think it's not right for professional athletes to have to be in it, because I think it's where it was always a place where you earn to be an Olympian. I'm not saying that the professionals don't, but it made a certain group of people having to work their ass off to get to where they are. And that's throughout every sport besides like yes, I use track and field as an example. Archery.
No, I get what you're saying. The non-big sports,
right? Wrestling. They grab all Americans. That's not saying like they're grabbing WWE people or
they're all NCAA.
No, they're all double NCAA. I believe because of the aspect before they hit that next level of realism, the next level period. They need to. I still say that it should just be college athletes who get selected for a tryout and then evolve into an Olympian. And I think that's a whole nother group than having people being a professional. Now, this day and age where college athletes are getting paid, because I've heard that Olympic athletes don't even get paid that much.
Nope, they usually have to pay their own travel and everything.
So I that's my feelings on it.
Now, I agree with you to an extent with the college players. Because I know, at least for hockey, they don't just pick any pros. You still got to earn, and they mix it with juniors and pros with hockey.
Yeah.
It's not all pro. So you still, even as a pro, doesn't mean you're there. You still got to earn that spot. Austin Matthews, one of the best players in the world, had to earn his spot on Team USA to be able to play, and he still almost didn't make it. So that tells you right there. Connor McDavid, best player in the world, hands down. I can't stand him. Best player in the world, had to earn his way on the Team Canada. He had to earn his way. But I agree. I do like the earning, and I know basketball, they kind of just take the pros, the all-star, bunch of all-stars and throw them on there. At least they did for a while. But like I said, at least with hockey, they still kind of mix it up and stuff like that. And I do like that. Come on. Miracle on ice. Nothing but college kids. Never played together before in their lives, other than a few of them that played on the same colleges together. Half of them couldn't even stand each other. They were from two rival colleges. Wanted to fight half the time.
But that stuff you gotta love, though, because that was just because they loved the game.
Exactly. They wanted to be there. They wanted to represent their country.
Yep. That's what it all comes down to.
In the sport that they love. And they just had a maniac coach that even drove them even crazier and farther than they ever thought possible. And became the miracle. What it was, that team was never supposed to do anything, let alone win the whole thing. Especially not beat Russia. No one was supposed to beat Russia.
Nope.
At that point. In the 80s, no one was supposed to beat Russia. So I like the All-Star's fun sometimes just because you know the names, like you said. It's fun to be like, okay, yay, so-and-so's going, I can watch. But at the same time, it's good to see young, hungry people chasing for it and having fun and getting their name out there. Because even look at the Miracle team. I think one or two of them actually became like real big NHL guys, but most of them became great coaches because of that whole situation. So sometimes it takes you down a different path. I know myself playing, I started as a player and became a coach eventually. It's not always the same, but I do think Olympics is more fun when it's younger guys that seem hungry, not just the top name all-stars. I definitely agree with that part of it. No, we didn't lose to the Avalanche. We beat them 2-0 last night. We shut them out, buddy. Go somewhere. Get your info right.
Trying to start something.
Yeah, he always is. But no, women athlete, yes, at the Olympics. I know that was a big thing at the last Summer Olympics. They were saying how bad it was and complained about not having proper housing, training, stuff like that because they couldn't afford it. I think we lost to them earlier in the weekend, but we definitely beat them last night, 2-0. So yeah, I know, and I don't know if you were here, Crystal. We were talking about the WNBA and rival, some of the stuff we were talking about earlier at work. We did have a big discussion on that. You'll have to go back and rewatch it. If you
and Phil, thanks for mentioning about the Blue Jays when we were talking about the Dodgers.
Oh yeah.
And Crystal's right because she was saying about how the women athletes over there had no housing and no areas on the trains even to get to some of these locations.
They were treated like crap.
And
it's unfortunately happens a lot is the women get treated like second grade citizens is the best way to explain it. which was the whole thing we were talking about with the WNBA and the pay and stuff. Like I said, it's not just the WNBA players, it's female athletes in general.
In general.
Not getting paid for putting their bodies through the same thing guys do. And not to sound like a douche or anything, but they actually got to put more work in because they're females.
Yeah.
To even get looked at as being serious. So that right there should help you understand that they do deserve better pay. I'm not saying crazy amount, but better pay than what these athletes get. They need to deserve to get what they earn and treat it right, so that stuff like that doesn't keep happening, like the Olympics and stuff like that, and everything like that. Like I said, Unrivaled kind of proved it. It can be done. You just got to believe, and because imagine if they did that without a lot of marketing. Imagine what they could do with marketing for that visit to Philly. With a lot more marketing, would have made that a lot better. I don't want to go back too much into that again, since we did discuss that for a good 15. It was like a good 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, we talked about it for a good while.
So if you happen to miss that, go back and watch it. I'll probably be making a video of it this week of just that conversation. Because it was a good one. It was a back and forth one. Let's go. As you can tell, we're both getting over still being sick. Both of our voices are going in and out. So on that, once again, I want to thank you for coming and hanging out. Don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe. Peace. Catch you on the next one. I'm just Josh.
And I'm Will the Thrill, ladies and gentlemen.
And we are out of here. And hopefully next week we're in better condition so we can give you a full energy one again.
Super Bowl, baby.
Yeah, and we'll have the Super Bowl winner.